Good morning, Europe. Good evening, Manila. Thank you for joining us in today's Food and Beverage webinar. This is being jointly organized by the EU-Philippines Business Network together with the French Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. Today, we have invited three successful entrepreneurs who will give you a brief overview of their businesses and the challenges, opportunities, and trends in the industry. This is to encourage you to look into the Philippines as a potential market for your products and various food products and beverages. At the end of this presentation, there will be a brief question and answer portion. So feel free to type in your questions so our respective speakers will be able to address this. By the way, I'm Fidel Ventura, the EU Outreach Officer from the EU-Philippines Business Network. And just to give you a brief overview of EPBN, was established in 2014 and co-founded by the European Union. This is being implemented by a consortium of European chambers in the Philippines. And the main objective of EPBN is to support the framework of European companies, especially SMEs, interested in exporting and investing in the Philippines. So we provide various business support services to SMEs. This includes analyzing and providing advocacy support to the EU companies, providing various high-level coordination of our business support services, and providing customized development and government coordination, and providing also some successful market entry strategies for each company. And this is in addition to the research that we provide also in finding potential clients and partners for your products and services. With that, let me introduce you now to my colleague from the French Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Teresa Yedra.
Good morning, Europe, and good afternoon, Manila. Thank you, Fidel, for that kind introduction. So I am Teresa Yedra, the current Business Support Officer at the French Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the Philippines. So the French Chamber of Commerce, as one of the partners of EPBN, we are currently leading its Food and Beverage Committee. And then, as a brief background, the French Chamber of Commerce, we aim to promote and enhance the bilateral business relationships of France and the Philippines. Moreover, the French Chamber also assists French companies. We assist French companies develop their businesses in the Philippines through our wide range of dedicated events and business services. For today, our first speaker, I am very pleased to present to you Ms. Helen Baisa. Helen is currently the chairwoman of the EPBN Food and Beverage Committee. She has her own company. She's the president and managing director of Charmant Ingredients Food Corporation. And then she's also part of the board of directors of the Philippine Chamber of Food Manufacturers. Thank you, Helen.
Good morning, Europe. I'm Helen Grace Baisa, and I'm here to provide you an overview of the thriving Philippine food and beverage sector. So to give you a short overview, the Philippines has an estimated population of over 100 million, where 52% resides in urban areas, and the food and beverage industry's output goes 90% of the food and beverage industry's output goes to these people residing in the urban area. Over the past 5 or 6 years, the Philippines has seen to have this robust economy and continue to grow significantly. The food and beverage sector remains one of the most dominant primary industry in the country. Major sectors includes, of course, food and beverage, food and vegetables, fish and marine products, meat and poultry products, flour and bakery, which includes improvers, confectionery, dairy, bottled water, flavor, the natural snacks, fats, oils, dietary supplements, food for special and medicinal nutrition. So our company is into importation, export of active raw materials, supplying to pharmaceutical companies, food and beverage, as well as nutraceuticals and personal care products. So our exclusive partners, or most of those exclusive partners, comes from Europe, which includes, of course, Foodarom, Supra from Belgium, Fitonet from Switzerland, and the others. So um, what are the trends here in the Philippines when it comes to food and beverage? Okay, and it has as well the fastest growing or growth potential. First, of course, these are food products with convenience. So very convenient, easy to consume. We can find in groceries, gourmet products as well is becoming very, very trendy. Nutraceutical products, of course, like anti-aging products, products for skin enhancement, and what else? Food and beverage products targeting beauty products. It may be in like beverage form, for fat inhibition, for slimming, whitening. It's very common in this country. And healthy natural categories. We also have this trend on clean labeling. So natural, soy-free, allergen-free, and other innovative ingredients or raw materials for further processing. So opportunities for EU businesses, specifically for small, medium enterprises. Okay, as mentioned earlier, we have this continued strong economic growth. So, and therefore, we also have this stronger consumer base. We have this booming consumer spending or higher disposable incomes from families, fast-growing urbanized population, and the millennial generation is continuing to grow quantitatively. Consumers' more sophisticated taste as well has grown, quality lifestyles, higher awareness to food quality and safety, strategic location, and of course, free trade agreements with from various countries, and access to convenience stores, supermarket chains, and delivery services. So most of you may ask, how is it doing business in the Philippines? Is it a walk in the park, or well, it is challenging, but it's challenging. However, of course, with the renewed confidence in the government or country and its potential for food and beverage investment, it's so worth it. So we have this streamlined linkages with the EU businesses, thanks to the EPBN, the ECCP, and the other agencies involved. So we have these bilateral programs, legislations, FTAs in place. We have amended some laws, procedures for business registration, specifically for drug administrations, Bureau of Customs, Department of Health, to simplify, to encourage foreign and local investors, specifically the small medium enterprises. So we also have this strength or advantages. We have this workforce, hardworking, educated, literate workforce in the country. So consumer markets dynamic, FDA recognizes Codex Alimentarius, of course, the Bible in the food industry, and of course, the presence of the European Philippine Business Network, uh, and proactive stakeholders or industry associations, mostly recognized by the government, which have the technical expertise, updated information on local and international standards and issues, capacity building, trainings to members, and of course, we also encourage, drafting or submission of position papers. We also have, of course, challenges. Okay, so we still have those, trade barriers we need to remove slowly, and of course, harmonization of standards and government regulations. Sometimes interpretation consistency can be quite challenging, and the Food Drug Administration certificate for registration timeline. But FDA is currently working on this and has improved since last quarter of 2015. And CPR, or Certificate Product for Ingredients or Raw Materials for Further Processing, is also required. So each ingredient, even if if this is for further processing, you still have to register this. So other challenges include, of course, smuggling, counterfeit, importation issues, or the release of goods from the Bureau of Customs, Bureau of Internal Revenues, city municipal regulations, business processing times. Threats, of course, it includes the usual natural catastrophes, infrastructure, energy prices are quite high compared to other neighboring countries. Taxation is still a huge issue, and sometimes inflation or unmanageable inflation, terrorism can be an issue, and most of, most of the time or all the time, traffic situation. So how to gain access in the local market? Of course, we have the presence of the EPBN, or the European Union Philippine Business Network. So please utilize them, uh, contact them, look for Fidel Ventura, Manuel de Galang, and of course, Teresa. So they have this advocacy to provide or support framework for EU companies and businesses interested in investing in the Philippines. So if you're an SME, then it would be very, very advantageous in the market. So pointers. So what are the pointers and how to get access? Of course, after contacting Fidel Ventura or EPBN, okay, so your product should be suitable to the local market, availability of resources or capabilities to deliver, uh, competitive advantages, so reliability, quality, support. So, and you have to have your marketing or sales distribution channels. So you have to have your agents, distributors, and traders as well. So you also need to, this is imperative, you have to have people, expertise and experiences, which is, of course, who are familiar with local regulations, like the FTA regulations. Strategies, risk, you have to identify those, and of course, you have to comply to local and international regulations. So that's it for this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Helen, for the highly informative and helpful presentation on the overview of the food and beverage market in the Philippines. Before I introduce the second speaker, I would like to remind everyone, if you have any questions, just key in your questions and then the specified speakers, and then we will be answering your questions during the open forum. Thank you. And then for our second speaker, he has over 12 years of experience in the food and beverage market. He has graduated in hospitality management, and he has also built his own food businesses around the Philippines. And I would like to present to you Mr. Julien.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Julien Agosta. Thank you for CCIF and the EPBN for having me today. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the restaurant industry in Manila and the early signs of a bubble in that scene, in that industry. But first of all, let me reassure you, the bubble is not about to burst. We can expect continuing growth driven by strong economic performance and a high consumer confidence. There you go. Here's a small macro-analysis of the Philippines. My colleague went over that earlier. But basically, this is a big country, more than 100 million inhabitants, and we're looking at a GDP growth of more than 7% per year. So Manila's restaurant scene, the competitive landscape. Most of the full-service restaurants are independently owned. That represent about 75% of all restaurants, meaning they're not chains. They do not belong to, there is only one or two of the same brand. There is an increasing number of foreign brands due to high demand. And within these foreign brands, the ones that work the best are usually the Japanese one, the Korean, all the Chinese one as well as the North American food brands. For example, Shakey's, as you can see here. This is the trend in Manila's restaurant scene. As you can see, every year you have more and more food establishments that are opening, and it's still growing. Here my data stopped at 2014, but there you could see the chart would still go up. It's the Manila's restaurant scene, the market analysis. Basically what is happening is that people are making more money. You have a growing A and B market, and the first thing they're going to do, besides buying a car, is going to the restaurant more often. So there's more opportunities. The second market analysis that gives opportunity to entrepreneurs is the fact that you have more and more shopping centers that are opening every year. New businesses but mostly in Manila. This will allow entrepreneurs to experiment their brands or introduce new ones to the market. Manila's restaurant scene, consumer trends. Besides the obvious fact that Filipino still favor their local flavors, the local Filipino restaurant, you also, over the past 5-6 years, there was the rise of different trends. The first one was the ramen trend, the ramen craze. One major player would be Ramen Nagi, who now has, I believe, 7 outlets within Metro Manila. There was the rise also of the convenience store. 5 years ago, a Mini Mart was unknown to the market. Today, you can see them everywhere. The all-day breakfast scene. All-day breakfast. Filipino love all-day breakfast scene, and some people from different restaurant group brought the Philippine brands like Hi Ho, Dennis, Slap Cakes, and finally, the last trend that I could that we could see is the coffee shops and cafes. You have different brands such as Tom Tom from Korea, which is #1 Korean coffee shop. You have Toby's Estate from Australia, that is very prominent here in Manila. And then you have also the Independent, Single Origin, Crispin 28, the Curator. So all of these people doing business, creating restaurants, taking advantage of the growing economy. The consequence is, for a certain market, for a certain positioning, is that we can see already a few signs of a bubble. It might threaten your current restaurant model. For an entrepreneur, the thing you will see, the most important thing that you will see that will show you that slowly you're entering a bubble is the fact that your ROI, return on investment, is taking longer. I remember 7 years ago, 8 years ago, people would tell me, open a restaurant, my ROI will be a year and a half, 2 years. Today, if your restaurant works, you look at 4 years, 5 years. A second thing that you encounter right now that shows you that there is a bubble is the fact it is really hard to find skilled employees, hospitality employees. You're going to have a hard time because they are not enough. They're either taken already by your competition or they go abroad. So this is something you're going to have to spend energy on, your recruitment. The third thing that shows you there's a bubble is the rising number of copycats. Today you open a barbecue place, let's say a few names, but so you open a barbecue place, you can be sure, you can bet that 6 months later there will be another one. A year later there will be 5 or 6 more, and that happens for everything. Every concept that is nice, is cool, is trendy, you have to be sure you're ready for competition. So we'll go over that after. And finally, the fact that people are spoiled. Your consumer are getting more spoiled. Well, there's so much competition that as a restaurateur, you want to give the best to your customer, right? However, eventually, things like organic, things like local, things like fresh product, it becomes a do. It's not even a competitive advantage anymore. For example, I had a comment because I own a restaurant, a cafe, and funny thing also with the rise of the different websites such as Lulu, where people can go and give a comment on your about your restaurant on this website. There was a comment that made me laugh. It was about this guy who was really mad because he found a fish bone in his fish, things like that. But that happens right now, and it's really regular. So that's it for the size of the early bubbles. However, that doesn't mean there's no opportunity, because again, the economy is growing so fast. The income of people is also growing at the same time, but it won't be for the same market. I believe it won't be for the A and B market. If you're looking into opening a restaurant, you have 2 choices. Either you go for the fast casual restaurant, counter type, with a skeleton crew, with minimal space, with really small menu, small inventory to still be able to get your ROI. in a few years, in a couple of years, or you go the opposite way. You go for a super high-end restaurant, let's say a chef's table. So you can price your average ticket, let's say $200. You have you're the one as a chef cooking, and you have six seats right in front of you. So to conclude, I believe there will be a bipolarization of the market. There will still be lots of opportunity, especially for importers, especially for restaurant operators, but they will just have to pinpoint different restaurants and different products at the same time. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Julien. Thank you for extensively discussing the restaurant scene in the Philippines. And now for our third speaker, I would like to welcome Mr. Pierre Marmonier. He owns and manages his own company in the Philippines, the Fruit Garden. So he has been processing fruit jam for the last 7 years. And his products are primarily sold to five-star and luxury hotels, and also to select retail outlets, both locally and abroad.
Good morning, Europe. I'm Pierre. I will talk today about the hotel industry in the Philippines. So first we will go through the trends, then we'll talk a little bit about the Fruit Garden, our company, what are the opportunities in the market, and what is it like to do business in the Philippines. If you look at the hotel industry, who are the players first? I will divide Metro Manila and the province, which is basically Cebu, Boracay Islands, and the islands. You have first the five-star hotels. In the five-star hotel, you have a lot of chains. Shangri-La, which opened a new hotel last year, Metro Manila. The Hyatt, the Peninsula, Lusitani. You have the Marco Polo, Conrad hotels. These are the bulk of the five-star hotels in Metro Manila. You have some standalone hotels which are purely Filipino-owned, and you have now for the past 3 years quite a new set of players in the market, which are the casino resort hotels, which have participated to the growth of that hotel room capacity. If you look in the province, Cebu, Boracay, you will find some of those international chains, a little bit less, just few of them. You have Movenpick with 2 hotels, you have Shangri-La, and then you have a lot of resort islands, some very high-end, owned by local groups like the Ayala groups, or by sometimes some small foreigner groups or local group as well. So we talk about in the Philippines, Metro Manila, about 20-25 five-star hotels. And if you take the bulk of the province, roughly the same amount, with probably less room capacity. So in terms of volume money, I would say 60-40%. If we look down at the other segment, the second segment of the hotel industry, the 3- and 4-star hotels, you have limited international chains. Accor just came recently with Novotel and Mercure. You have Pan Pacific, you have the Holiday Inn, which closed an hotel in Manila but opened a new one as well. Closed one in Clark. And you have few other players, but you start to have a lot of local industry players. Ayala Group again with Seda Hotel with 4 or 5 hotels, and few more coming up. You roughly have about 40 hotels in Metro Manila in 3 to 4 stars. Looking at the province, it's basically the same scene, but with only local groups. You don't have yet international chain like Accor developing new hotels in the province. And then if you go further down the bottom of the market, 2 stars and below, you have mostly and only local groups. Micro Hotel, for example, with I believe 11 hotels, Hotel 101, Red Planet, Go Hotels. These are new chains developing in the markets, and the same in the province. Same groups are present. If you look at concentrating on Metro Manila, the number of rooms, as I mentioned earlier, we have seen a surge recently led by the casino industry in terms of rooms. Over the past 3 years, if we look at 2015 and what's going to be the hotel capacity in 2018 in Metro Manila, we are seeing a 50% increase. We're going up from 21,000 rooms to 30,000. that's quite significant in the city to see a growth of capacity of 50%. That's what's happening now in Manila. But unfortunately, due to some limitation in terms of infrastructure that one of our speakers was talking about earlier, there will be, I mean, the airport in Manila is already saturated. So what you see, I mean, the increase of room leads to a decrease in terms of occupancy rate. Makati, which is the business district, 5-6 years ago, hotels were fully booked basically the whole year, 90% occupancy rate. Now they are down to the 70%. And we believe that that's the current situation, and it may take a while for the hotel occupancy rate to go back to a level where it used to be, if ever. So if looking at the trend, 5-star hotel have been developing strongly by 20% per annum. But I believe this trend will slow down. There's less hotels opening this year and next year, so that's not going to be sustainable. In the province, we have seen some strong development as well, but mostly due to one place, which is Boracay. We have seen a few 5-star hotels opening, and that probably is becoming oversaturated. So I believe also the increase will tend to decline. 3 to 4 stars hotel, this is where you have the growth, the real growth. The economy is developing, so you have more and more middle-class people who can afford to travel more, who can afford hotels, and also hotel 3 to 4 stars are really developing and will continue to develop. The Accor Group has quite a program so far they have Mercure and one hotel. They will double, triple those number of hotels, and local groups are very, very active. And we will see the same trend in the province. Even, I will say, a higher trend development for 3 to 4 stars hotel, where the offer is still poor today and it's going to grow much faster than in Metro Manila. And if you look at the 2 stars and below, again, there's a strong growth. There's a lot of hotels, even for foreigners, backpackers. They go to 2 stars hotel, stay 2 nights, go and travel the country, and that will continue to develop in Metro Manila and in the province. So that was for the hotel industry and what's happening in terms of developments. Just a few words about our company. The Fruit Garden has been established now for 8 years in the Philippines. We are based here, and we also export to different countries in Asia. Being French, we're doing product the French way, and it's very important for us to talk about our heritage. We have a very nice combination using local product, local foods, and the French way of cooking. It's a trend which works quite well so far. And we offer 100% high quality product to consumers. So we are really in the 5 stars hotel market. So basically our product, we have jams in all kind of format, from 14-gram plastic, aluminum to glass bottles, different type. We also have honey, same way, same type of packaging, and we also do fruit filling in place only. And our distribution is obviously hotels, caterer, retailer, high-end retailers, corporate, and we do export. This is for the jam, for the honey, and for fruit filling is mostly caterer and hotels. So looking at the opportunities in the hotel industry, with all this boom in terms of hotels, we have seen more and more distributors. 10 years ago, I think in Metro Manila, you will have a handful of distributors. Now you really have a lot. So for European companies, you have more chance, more opportunities to find distributors to distribute your product. So that's a fact, and it's, I would say, easier as long as your product has a real plus, a competitive advantage to offer. You have more chance to enter the market with finding a distributor. There's still some gap in the market. I mean, there's a few examples, but it's always surprised me that, for example, for an island, the fish supply to hotel, to my opinion, is rather poor. It's very hard to find nice fish like turbo fish. There is, I think, a lot of opportunities for high-end hotel and also 4 stars hotel in terms of fish. The fruits, again, I mean, in the Philippines, it's very hard to find red fruits, fresh red fruits, and it's very, very expensive. There probably are some ways to find to export the fruits to the Philippines. If you go to Thailand, you go to Vietnam, there's much more fruits available. If you go to Cambodia, there's a lot of fruits, local and imported fruits. So there are opportunities. Supply of meat. Local meat is not that great. You have meats from the States imported, and from New Zealand, Australia. There's nothing much from Europe. It's very hard to find lamb, for example. Duck, you go to grocery, you cannot find duck. Magret, you cannot find. So there are some segments. They just quoted few of them, but there are quite some gaps in the market in terms of supply in food products. And once again, yeah, I think if you look at the market, so as I mentioned earlier, 5-star hotel, but there are 4 stars and 3-star hotel, I believe are more the future, are more the stars of the hotel industry. Because there is still, I think, a lot of supply. There's a booming economy, there's a booming middle class. More people will go to those hotels. And if I look at one of the key players in the food industry here, which is Nestle, the Philippines is in the top 10 countries of Nestle, which is huge. We're talking about $100 million. And their price position on Nestle is not high end, it's not low end, it's really medium class, medium product, medium. So I think that if you have a product from Europe, which will aim at the mid class of the country, that could be a very high potential. Yeah, that's basically, and what we said earlier, I mean, also the economy and the country, the population, we have 100 million. The population growth is 1.5%. So every year you have 1.5 million people. So in 10 years, exponentially, you're going to have 20 more million people in the Philippines. So that's already a whole European countries that you add to the in terms of population. What it's like to do business in the Philippines? I have been working in the Philippines, in Europe. I've been working in Africa, and I would say that it's not more difficult than anywhere else. You just have to be aware of the rules and regulations, but you have a lot of support with the European Chamber of Commerce to know what are the rules, what are the regulations, and you just have to follow them. I think for companies who want to establish your own identity or your legal identity, you need a local partner. I mean, that's quite needed. And I would say for a company who wants to be distributed, you also need a representative. Either a representative office or hire someone, a local person will, I think, be a better option because the person knows the business, know the mentality, and cost less as well. But you really need some marketing support if you want to have a product distributed in the Philippines. That's really a must. And it's not always easy to find good people, but you can find good people, and with good training from your side, that could be a winning combination. And again, that's why it's important, because in the Philippines, the microcosm is quite small, and networking is very, very important. You cannot just do remote control business. You need someone here who can do networking, and that will accelerate pretty much your business development in the Philippines. I think that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pierre, for the presentation on discussing the trends and developments in the hotel industry, and also for your advices in setting up in the Philippines. For the open forum and on our upcoming events, I would like to call on my colleague, Fidel Ventura.
Thank you, Teresa. And at this point, maybe we'll start first with the question and answer forum. And I think we have one question which came in already. And Helen will be providing the answer to the first question.
Actually, I received 5 questions. So the first question, how does the Philippine people usually consume garlic? For example, do they eat it as a form of condiment such as garlic powder, or rather use a lot of fresh garlic during cooking, or do they simply eat it as a vital snack as the Indonesian does? Okay, Garlic here in the Philippines comes in various formats depending on applications or consumptions. We have the garlic powder. We use this as a condiment during meal and as well as an ingredient for further food processing or manufacturing. Like say, for instance, snack foods. We have this snack food here called Happy. It has a lot of peanuts with lots of garlic, so we use a lot of garlic there. Secondly, we have the garlic flakes. Of course, as a condiment, we use that for meals. And most of the companies repack this and display this in supermarket chains. We also use this, of course, for during meals. Third is the fresh garlic. Of course, we use this for cooking, basically. We don't normally use this for snacking. So that's it. Another question. Where do local people usually buy fresh garlic from? In large supermarkets or in traditional food or agriculture markets? And which form of market do they prefer? We have available garlics produced locally by our local farmers, and some food manufacturers and supermarkets import as well products from or garlics from China. So yeah, we normally prefer local, of course, garlic. So and third, what's the import and export operation license policy in the Philippines? Is it that only a certain amount of companies can apply for it, or every company can apply for it as long as they want to do foreign trade? Okay, any company can actually apply for an import-export distribution business in the country. So you just have to comply with requirements like, which includes, of course, requirements from the Secretary of Exchange Commission or the Department of Trade and Industry, either of those two. Secondly, you have to apply for a license to operate from the Food Drugs Administration. Third, you have to secure your permit from the Bureau of Internal Revenue. And fourth, you also have to apply your licenses from the Bureau of Customs. So it's not really difficult because, as what I've mentioned earlier, the government has amended a lot of laws during the past year and has, at an advantage of those SMEs wanting to or interested to conduct business in the country. It's not perfect, of course, but we have improved significantly. Okay, so is there an import and export quota on fresh garlic from China? Well, honestly, I don't know. I have to refer this to the EPBN people, and they can probably refer this to the Department of Agriculture, because I have no clue. Sorry. And last? Okay, last is a question about frozen fruits and vegetables. Is there frozen fruits and vegetables also a growing business? Well, indeed, yes, frozen fruits and vegetables. In fact, I'm one of those who really wanted to go import this because of the consistency in quality. It's really important. So consistency in quality as well as the volume. So yes, the market is huge for the dairy, for the condiments, yeah, food for further food processing. So which one? Could you tell? Okay, are most importers or agents located in Manila, or should you consider other cities? Okay, most actually importers are situated in Metro Manila. However, it is a good venue. Well, it is a good idea as well to to check out Cebu and other cities, urban cities like Cebu, Iloilo City, and Davao City. Metro Manila is so congested, and you can, in fact, the market in those areas are expanding significantly, as what my colleague here mentioned earlier. Boracay, situated in the western Visayas Island, so you have a lot of opportunities there. Yes, so could you tell something about poultry market, local producers, trades, average poultry consumption, import of which country? Poultry market. We have local producers of poultry, meaning frozen chicken, fresh chicken. However, I believe that the production is not enough. So we import a lot from countries like Canada. Yeah, Canada is, I think, one of the largest exporters of poultry in the Philippines.
I don't know if one of the other speakers wants to add something to one of the answers. You're perfect.
Okay. Okay. What is the excise tax and VAT tax for imported beer in the Philippines? I think Emmanuel is the best person to answer this question. Okay.
So the VAT for importing beer is 12%, like any other product here in the Philippines. The import tax is 15% for beer, and then there's an excise tax of 23 pesos, 23.6 pesos per liter. But you have to know that the government has decided to increase that tax by 4% every year. So that's exactly the taxing for beer.
There's a very crucial question here. Okay, how sugar tax impact on the beverage industry at the moment? Okay, the reason sugar tax, yes. In 2014, we had this congresswoman who actually came up with House Bill 292, sorry, 292, about sugar beverages, increasing the taxes and of any sugar or sweetened beverages. In 2015, it has been amended to House Bill 3365. So, well, adding taxes, significant taxes. And now it's back to the amendment of the House Bill 292, wherein the law now includes not just the sweetened beverages, but also including milk and 100% fruit juices. So it's rocky, and of course the industry is reacting to this violently, and but we are doing our best. We have submitted our position paper on this. We are against this definitely, and we also have the Philippine Chamber of Food Manufacturers, which of course has been highly well, has participated in all the public hearings under the House. So we are working on this, and we're trying our best, to to come up with terms on this one. So yeah, thank you. By the sugar for their products. Hello, how food and beverage sector buy the sugar for their products? Okay. Locally, are there any imports from EU? Okay, sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah, sugar.
There's a lot of import from China of sugar.
That's actually rather okay. Unfortunately, as Pierre was mentioning, there's a lot of import of sugar from China. Although Philippines used to be the sugar producer, yes, in the country decades ago, before we were even born. But now, unfortunately, maybe Pierre, you can share. Are there any imports from EU? I don't
think there are much import from the EU. So yeah, the country produces a lot of sugar, but it's not enough. I know some well-known beverage company import a lot of sugars, cargo loads from China. You have a bit from Thailand as well. But as far as I know, there is none yet from the EU. But in theory, I don't know why there won't be any. I'm not sure about taxes. Sorry?
It's regulated. You have to,
yeah, there are some regulations. Yeah. There are some quotas. But the thing is that, of course, local production is probably dominant, but you have import from Asian countries as well.
Local sugar is cheaper.
Yeah.
40 pesos per kilo. You get that.
I think Chinese sugar is cheaper.
Somebody's asking for the price of the tax on sugar. You know, the import tax.
No, that I won't know. No.
We'll try to find the detail.
Yeah.
Some people would like to be interesting traders in chicken and chicken parts. Okay, we can do that privately with EPBN. Yeah, somebody appreciated your abbreviations on the laws that were passed. Which is the non-law exactly. Is it the number of the law?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. The 292, it's now 292, House Bill 292.
Yeah. So that's it for a moment. There are no more questions. Then you can ask if there's any other questions.
Thank you for that, Helen and Pierre. At this point, maybe if you would have some more questions or queries regarding potential opportunities in the business, the food and beverage industry in the Philippines, please do send us your email so the EPBN and the ECCP will be able to address this together with the French Chamber of Commerce. And so I'd like to now present to you some of the upcoming events that you could take advantage, such as the IFEX Business Vision that we are organizing on May 19 to 21. This will be an opportunity for European companies to showcase their products and various related services to the local market. There will be a European pavilion that will be organized as well, and with this will be an opportunity to be able to identify potential partners and distributors for your different products. And there will be a wide networking activity, cocktail receptions to meet exhibitors as well as potential partners and distributors. And then we are also organizing the first European Food Festival here in Manila. And the opportunity here are for exporters and importers to showcase their various food ingredients, food inputs, and because we will be putting forward these products to the different participating restaurants to showcase different European cuisines and drinks. And we have other upcoming events for the EU-Philippines Business Network. There will be the ASEAN-EU Business Summit on March 10. As you know, the Philippines is hosting the ASEAN activities this year here in Manila and in the various cities in the Philippines. Then we will also have the Business and Construction Mission to World Bank on March 15 to 19. And then there will be a Water Mission to Water Challenge Forum on April 27. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us in this food and beverage webinar. And again, I would like to thank our speakers. They have been so kind to address all the questions that have been raised in this event. Thank you and good morning again.